real America's voice. Go ahead, scan the QR code now.
Look at that, folks. The National Dermatologist Day. Is this going to be an honorary day? And is Mr. Trump going to take the 4 o'clock hour to talk about the dermatologists of America? I'm just teasing. Markets all over the board today, a little bit lower, ending the day a little bit lower, was very much higher early in the session. And here's what happened. At some point midday or so, oil was lower, $2 lower across the board, meaning crude oil, West Texas Intermediate, which is the one we use and trade, and then Brent, which is the European version, they were lower, and then they turned around. They reversed. Brent crude, almost $103 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate up $2.28, $98 a barrel, probably going to hit $100 a barrel again over the weekend. Rough days, and that's really putting pressure on the equities markets. That's why they went down. Take a look at gold, down substantially, $110 to the ounce. Silver down $5 to the ounce. Crypto, I saw a $73,800 price earlier in the day, about 11 o'clock this morning. Came off hard, $71,000. All right, think about this for a second. In 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces of gold. So you take 20 grand and you're holding 33 ounces of gold back then at the spot price. Today's prices, those same 33 ounces, $165,000. See the difference? They exploded in value. Smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals, and that's why you need to consider buying gold from my friends at Birch Gold Group for thousands of years. Gold has been a storer of wealth, and today it's a crucial part of any balanced strategy. Even better, Birch Gold Group, they're amazing. They can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered retirement account in gold. Just text the word America, you know how to spell that, America, to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. No obligation, just very useful information. Guess what? They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and they've got tens of thousands of happy customers. So you must, I do it, I use them. Why don't you let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold? That's peace of mind. Text the word America to 989898. Again, America, that word, texted to 989898 today. All right, let's bring in our first guest, our own Rav, Chief White House Correspondent, who brings us the very latest of what's going on at the White House and around the country. Always have to have Mr. Brian Glenn with us. BG, let's talk a little bit about Iran. It's all the talk. I mean, you can't go to a news site anywhere and not have to hear. By the way, can I just throw this out here? Pete Hegseth delivered the best briefing I've seen him deliver. Wow, he was cogent, he was firm, and he told the Iranians, guess what, folks? You're going to get the hellfire dropped on you today, the worst since this whole thing started 13 days ago. Brian, what are your thoughts on Hegseth and Trump, you know, where he is on where we are in this conflict?
Well, he definitely, well, good afternoon, Eric. It's always great to be with you. Well, he did definitely preview what's to come. And of course, we are moving more assets into that area, more ships, more Marines, more protection for that Strait of Hormuz. And he said it before. If you block that strait, I'm coming after you maybe 20 times more than I did before. So President Trump certainly not beating around the bush of what he intends to do here, because if you look at the amount of traffic that's being held up right now, there's no one knows oil better than you, Eric. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some kind of oil expert, but I do know one thing. There's a lot of energy that goes through that Strait of Hormuz, going out to different countries. And if that's blocked and ships are sitting there, and of course, President Trump said, have some guts and just take the ship through there. I'd be a little leery too if I knew that there was some mines floating out in the ocean and potential targets. But President Trump is not messing around, Eric. He's going to protect those ships going through that strait.
Yep. And I just pulled a video up yesterday. I've sent it to Ben. I've been doing a lot of work with Ben in the mornings on oil. And there's a video that the Iranians put out. It's been confirmed. It's been double checked. There's a video of, so we're blowing up their ships that are capable of placing these mines, but these ships float on top of the water. The Iranians have a fleet of hundreds of these submersibles, and they're not manned, they're robotic, that are able to go ahead and actually act as a mine in the Strait of Hormuz. They showed a video of it. They played this video. I've seen it 5 or 6 places. That alone, Brian, so no matter what they say, we've got this thing cleared and blah, 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 those ships alone, those robotic ships alone, are enough to probably deter 95% of any captain that's going to think about taking their ship through that Strait of Hormuz.
I agree with you. And then you take the drones. Now, these drones cost thousands to make, so relatively inexpensive, but they fly into these billion-dollar tankers. You got a video on your screen right now. These things are very destructive. So I don't anticipate this getting wrapped up anytime soon. Now, if you go over some of the numbers here, Eric, and this is what our viewers need to understand, we're about 11 to 12 billion dollars, if not a little more, into this conflict. Now, Congress is going to offer a supplemental, an additional $50 billion to be put into this war. Now, mind you, this is at a time, Eric, when we can't even fund DHS. So we can't fund DHS, but we're supposed to fast track another $50 billion into this.
You know, bothers me with that, and you're right. You're right. Congress, it's them trying to insert themselves into what Trump has said. I got this covered. Pete Heck says that we got this. You know, 10, 20, 30 billion dollars sounds like a lot of money, but when you talk about a $7 trillion budget, it's literally a rounding error. Stop with the 20 or 30 billion dollars it costs. They say $1 billion a day to drop these bombs. So right. The hell what? You guys, yeah, you're right. You want to play games with DHS and whatnot, go find something. I guarantee Republicans, Trump could find $100 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse within the $7 trillion budget as it sits right now and pay for his war for a long conflict for a very long time.
Agreed. No, agree with you. And then, but if you want to go even forecast further out, you know, as Americans see the money going into this war, and Eric, let me tell you, I support our military just like you. We have the best military in the world, hands down. But fiscally speaking, Social Security by 2032, 2033, by some estimates, is done. So I start to look at the bigger picture here and start to look at, we have got to rein in some of this spending. And I'm not saying that we abandon the military and not fund them. So everyone watching us right now or commenting on Getter, please save your comments. I'm not saying that. But I do think, however, if we're going to fund something like this, we need to make sure we fund DHS and TSA and all these other aspects, because look, we're dealing with some potential terror strikes on our own soil, just like we experienced a couple of days ago.
Right.
If we don't fund,
right? You know what we've done? You're right. You know what we've done? So we got our boot on Iran's neck, and we got the mini Ayatollah running around. He's one-legged mini Ayatollah. Apparently, he's delusional, doesn't even know where he is. Yeah, he's the guy allegedly running the country. But what we've done is we've unleashed these terror cells here. When you think about it, it's not one. It's 4.
Yeah.
We had a mosque in Michigan yesterday. We had Old Dominion yesterday. Mm-hmm. We had the Austin, Texas shooter kills 3 people with the thing on. There was a 4th one. It's escaping me right now. But 4 ISIS or Iranian-friendly terror occurrences here in the United States in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. No, it's definitely going to be on the rise, and you see a lot of chat about sleeper cells in Texas and that we've known for a while. I want to take the war there on our own soil to make sure we root these guys out and get them the hell out of this country. But at the same time, I just want to make sure that we fund our agencies.
Well, that's the point.
Focused.
That's the point.
Yeah, because
there's more and more of these occurrences. Oh, the Mamdani thing on Sunday, where there was 2 different people who yell Allahu Akbar and throw IEDs into a crowd of people who are against Muslims, who are anti-Mamdani. That's 4. And how do we stop that with the Department of Homeland Security? That's exactly where it should be. Anyone that dies from the minute they shut that portion of the government down, refusing to fund the DHS, anyone who dies, American that dies from that, is on the hands and feet and faces of the Democrats.
Yeah, and look at the TSA lines, by the way. I was in Kentucky for President Trump's event there. Our cameraman, Jonah, who was stranded in Cincinnati Airport for about 14 hours, couldn't get his flight because of certain delays, and there were some weather issues. But if you look at travel around the country right now, Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, under big delays. So this TSA of potentially 60,000 people not getting a paycheck, Eric, a lot of them are calling out sick, and I don't blame them to a certain degree because we lost 11,000 of them in the fall during the first shutdown. So we've got to fund this thing and get all hands on deck to make sure we stop any potential terror cell from striking like they did the other day. Now, some of these people, Eric, you're not going to be able to stop it. It's just going to happen. We don't know about them. They pop up. The guy was from Sierra Leone. It's one of the most dangerous regions in the world. And this guy was put behind bars for having links to ISIS. And then that's him right there. And then under the Biden administration was released back on the streets. And then fast forward to yesterday, we all got that push notification that he had attacked some individuals at the university. So look, that's the state of our country right now. It is under attack. This is an active war, not only here in the States, but over in the Middle East as well. God bless our troops. Of course, we had the incident with the refueler yesterday as well. We lost some service members there. Very, very misfortunate accident there. It wasn't even friendly fire or anything like that. So what a loss there. But man, we want to wrap this thing up. I will say this also, Eric, real quickly. This is the last thing, in my opinion, that you want going into a midterm. You do not want to be involved in a foreign war, which you have a percentage of people in this country that aren't 100% for this war. They didn't really vote to have another war. Now, granted, we're in it, so I want to win it. But this could have some effects on the midterms as people just simply, or it's not popular.
Dude, listen. He's got to do what he's got to do, but a $4 gallon gasoline it's in our short-term future. I know Trump, when he finishes with this, I've seen it. I've seen Trump bring oil down, not to zero, to negative. His first term,
I remember
negative.
That. I think they were paying people to keep it, right?
What's that?
Weren't they paying people to? Weren't they paying people?
Negative 20. They were paying people to take the oil off our hands. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, and he can do that again. So the sooner this conflict ends, the sooner he can get American oil pumping again. That's the answer. Otherwise, we're going to be a rough time in the midterms. B, love having you, my friend. Good talking to you. Good talking. We have a very safe weekend.
Yeah, the other day, great. With Doug Mastriano, you guys had a great breakdown on the price of oil. I think you educated a lot of our viewers on the trends and how long it takes. That was good stuff, Eric. I got a lot of feedback on that. So props to you.
Thank you.
The other day, breaking it down.
Yeah, and I wanted to do it with Doug because Pennsylvania, massive energy producing state in the country. All right, my friend, good to see you. We will see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Yep, you got it.
All right, folks, take a look at this. Let me tell you something that's becoming very, very clear right now. There are millions of places online to argue about politics, but there are almost none where people talk honestly about winning at life. That's why I built The Edge. It's a non-political zone focused on performance, money, health, discipline, and longevity. And the response has been nothing short of incredible. In just a few months, the channel is approaching 2 million views. We're over 12,000 subscribers and more than 65,000 hours of watch time. And that last number matters the most because it means people aren't just scrolling past The Edge. They're stopping, sitting down, and actually engaging with real conversations. Again, no politics, no noise, just conversations about success, resilience, investing, health, and operating at the highest level. If you want to check it out, just search The Edge and Eric Bolling on YouTube. Watch one episode, and if it fires you up, welcome to The Edge. Again, search Eric Bolling plus The Edge and subscribe. I promise you, you will up your game if you join us. Guaranteed.
Running on empty, brain fog, can't focus, and those sugar-loaded energy drinks? Sure, they spike you fast, then crash you hard. Fix it with Soldier Fuel, the official energy drink of real America's voice. Soldier Fuel was born in the military to solve a real problem. Troops were relying on sugary drinks that wreck performance, so they built a better option. Zero sugar and steady energy, powered by caffeine, taurine, inositol, and extra B vitamins for clean energy and focus. No roller coaster crash. This isn't gas station hype. Soldier Fuel was built alongside the U.S. military and proven where it counts. Used by American soldiers and elite special operations.
This is really good.
And when you fuel up, you give back. 15% of profits go to pro-military charities. Scan the QR code, search for Soldier Fuel on Amazon, or go to buysoldierfuel.com and get an automatic 15% off your entire order. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
My name is Sandy Zeiss. Rav is the greatest for me because I live alone, and when I'm watching in the morning, have my coffee, I feel like I'm talking with family.
Hi, this is Becky from the Florida Panhandle, and I love watching Real America's Voice for the programming, the hosts, and my Rad Chat family.
America, we're entering our 250th year. The direction of the country is being decided right now in our culture and our economy, and who we choose to support matters more than ever. Most wireless companies don't care who you are or what you believe. They just want your money. Patriot Mobile is different. For more than 12 years, they've stood with Americans who believe freedom is worth defending, funding the Christian conservative movement when others stayed silent. And here's the deal. You don't have to give up quality or service when you switch to Patriot Mobile. They deliver premium priority access in all 3 major U.S. networks, so you'll get the same or better coverage than you have today. Think switching, think it's a hassle? It's not. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade. They have, by the way, a 100% U.S.-based support team that can activate you in minutes. You're still paying off a device. Patriot Mobile even offers a contract buyout. This is a defining year. Midterms. We must work together to save our country. Go to patriotmobile.com/Rav. That's patriotmobile.com/Rav, or call this number, 972-PATRIOT. 972-PATRIOT. By the way, if you're a patriot, you know how to spell that. Use promo code RAV for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Rav or 972-PATRIOT. Switch today. All right, there may have been a few warning signs that New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is a socialist who plans to ruin New York City for good. Like, 1, he said so, and 2, well, he said so again and again and again. When Zohran says he's raising taxes, believe him.
Amidst being in the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we already see an exodus of working and middle-class New Yorkers. So I don't have a hesitation in asking those who make the most amount of money in the city or the most profits in the city to pay a little bit more so that everyone can actually stay in this city. It's also something not just about justice or the ability for working-class people to live here. It is also actually about ensuring that corporations can continue to attract the top talent to this city. Because in a city where childcare costs more than $20,000 a year, I've heard from corporate leaders about how difficult it is for them to attract individuals who would work at their companies but want to raise a family, because you could be making $300,000 a year and you will feel that $20,000 a year because of the fact that we have allowed for the absence of affordable childcare to become reality here in the city.
Basically, his answer is to tax the rich even more. By the way, that city is insane. If you're above like $200,000 income, you're paying more than half of your income. to either state, city, and federal. It's insane. Well, tax them even more, but stop the mass exodus of middle-class New Yorkers. Good luck with that. Make it make sense, please. Seeing yet another video of Mamdani delivering Marxism through eloquent and smile made me think of this. These two guys right here. I was laying in bed and actually thought of this. And I thought it was funny. I said to my wife, she's like, that's kind of fun. Those two are cut from the same cloth. What you're looking at right there. Mamdani, basically Obama in a burqa. Both good-looking guys, both confident, polished, slick talkers, both terrorists in their own ways, delivering hatred of America with a smile. Think about this. Less than 2 days from Islamists throwing bombs outside the mayor's residence, inside City Hall, he holds a Muslim prayer, unapologetically. What happened to separation of church and state? By the way, what happened to that? I don't believe it. He brought that guy, the guy was banned for a while because he was promoting the attack on the Israelis. Can't remember what his name is, but he brought him in to lead that prayer. It's so bad over at CNN that now they're just getting used to rolling out lies and having to apologize for those same lies. Abby Phillip told a lie on the air a few days ago, one she probably does every night, pushing the narrative that Mamdani was the target of that attack in New York City. He was not, of course, but Abby said it like it was fact, even after the facts and videos were out. It's a new low for a member of the Democrat news network known as CNN, and Abby had to apologize and retract on air. But the question is, did Abby really learn anything?
This morning, I issued a correction first thing in the morning on X for a mistake that I made in last night's show, but I also wanted to do so on air as well. I incorrectly said that the bombs that were thrown by ISIS-inspired suspects in New York over the weekend were directed at Mayor Mamdani. They were not. I failed to catch and correct that mistake in real time, and I take full responsibility for that. And while we do make mistakes, it is important to acknowledge and correct those errors when they happen.
So, you know, Larry Ellison, the billionaire, bought the company that owns CNN. And he's a Trump supporter. Hopefully it tones down some of that BS rhetoric from CNN. Not holding my breath, but hopefully it will. DHS still shut down, defunded because Democrats won't get their way. Chaos at airports across the country. But of course, as always, Democrats don't care as long as they can stick it to Republicans. This is the government shutdown at the end of last year all over again. And again, just like last time, Chucky Schumer tries his best to pin it on Republicans.
We know that the only thing Republicans need to do is stay out of the way, and these programs will be funded today, and problems at the airports will go away.
Nah, you guys are holding out. You guys are holding out because you don't want to fund DHS. It's nothing to do with Republicans. Deflection by Democrats around the SAVE Act. We call it now the Save America Act. Trump literally today said we have to call it the Save America Act, not SAVE Act anymore. It's wild. They continue to do it. Talk about crazy, how crazy the attempted spin is. That having to show your federal ID to vote is somehow voter suppression. Well, guess what, folks? It is. It suppresses illegal voters. I digress. When the real story is that Democrats want illegals to vote for them in our elections.
You heard just the other day that, you know, his purpose in trying to pass the Save America, what he's calling the Save America Act, is precisely because he thinks that that will help Republicans win the election, and that they will, you know, that's going to guarantee them the election if they can toss people off the voter rolls, if they can keep people from voting because they're afraid to go, or people who just don't have, you know, the ID that they're demanding in the bill.
They just, like I said, the Save America Act is voter suppression. It suppresses illegal voters. The world's favorite high school dropout, climate change grifter extraordinaire, has come out with an interesting new haircut, no less, to talk about how awful it is that the Iranian regime killed thousands of their own people just for the crime of protesting. Just kidding, because Greta Thunberg's favorite new cause is apparently defending comunismo.
We need to talk about what's happening in Cuba right now. As the Trump administration is waging illegitimate wars across the world, killing countless of people, it is also strangling the Cuban people, deliberately, methodically, and openly. The pedophile Trump himself bragged about it, saying there's an embargo, there is no oil, there's no money, there's no anything. He said it like it was something to be proud of, while millions of people have been plunged into darkness by rolling blackouts.
Ben, can you get on the horn for a second here?
Yes, sir. What's up?
If I said to Greta Thunberg that I thought that haircut was ridiculous, what do you think she would say?
She'd probably say this.
How dare you?
Oh, wait, say it again. What would she say?
I think it's...
How dare you?
Exactly. All right, let's do this. Benny, show the Edge how you can sign up for the Edge, because we put a little video together. Mad Dog and Ben did tell you. So you want to take us through that real quick?
Yes, sir. So if you... let me restart that.
Yeah, restock that.
All right. So if you hold your phone up to the screen, you can scan the QR code with your camera, and at the bottom, a little yellow tag pops up. If you hit that yellow tag, it'll take you directly to Eric's YouTube account. And by hitting subscribe, a little notification bell will pop up next to it, and you can be informed whenever Eric makes any posts.
There you go. You know, I'm on Bannon this morning all week, and every time he brings that up, like 200 people subscribe. I was like, Bannon, it's crazy. How about our show? How about 4 o'clock? I'd love to get you guys on too. So please join us. Hit your QR code with your camera, or just go to youtube.com/Eric Bolling, The Edge. Make sure both are there. Please subscribe. We're blowing it out, folks. We'll be right back. 2.5 minutes.
At Real America's Voice, we love Pastor Jensen Franklin, a faithful servant of the Lord who brings our audience life-changing sermons every Sunday.
God is after a conversation with you.
And now, Jensen has a new book that will impact you too. What if your most effective prayers were not your longest ones? So many believers feel pressure to say more, thinking longer or more eloquent prayers will move the hand of God. But Scripture says otherwise. Throughout the Bible, brief, heartfelt prayers brought breakthrough and divine intervention.
And if I can inspire you to pray, I can inspire you to be like Jesus.
You will discover how even a simple cry, like, Lord, save me, can open heaven's windows.
I really believe it's going to change your life.
Filled with biblical examples and practical encouragement, this book will help you pray with confidence in every circumstance.
You are missing so much more God has for your life.
Get ready to experience the miracles that come when you pray short, bold prayers filled with power. Scan the QR code now and order your copy today on Amazon.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen, or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
This is Tim King, also known as USS Malik, and I love Real America's Voices for its like-minded programming and the chat. Love you guys.
All right, I love this, having this guy on, and I know you love him too. He sold over 40 million albums, performed more than 7,000 high-octane concerts, was named Detroit's greatest guitar player of all time by readers of M Live, and he's the host of Spirit Campfire right here on Real America's Voice. Always happy to have the one, the only, the Motor City Madman with us, my good friend, Mr. Ted Nugent. Ted, congratulations.
Hey, Derek Bolling, happy almost springtime in America. I'm feeling so good. It's going to be the best year of my life and the worst for my enemies. Hallelujah.
That's every year, though. I think that's the Ted Nugent battle cry every year. But we want to congratulate you, Ted, winning Hook and Barrel Magazine's prestigious Top Shelf Award for your article on clean and sober living. You must tell us about that. But I think a lot of people will be surprised that, has it always been this way, Ted, or is this something later in your career that you got clean, you got dry, and you never went back to it?
No, my dad pounded into our skulls. It's called parenting and discipline. It's the most beautiful cocktail for quality of life in the history of the world. Bottom line is today is Fred Bear's birthday, the founding father of modern day bow hunting, the mystical flight of the arrow. And I was raised along the Rouge River in Detroit, and I was fascinated by wildlife, as I am 77 years later. So do not underestimate or discount the healing natures, the healing powers of nature that I was baptized into in 1948, living in the wilds of the Rouge River of Detroit. So it was the Industrial Revolution, Fred Bear returning to the mystical flight of the arrow to force you to be more aware of your surroundings and accountable to get close to wildlife that cleanses the soul. And here it is 77 and a half years later, Eric, I did that this morning. So I wrote an article that you can't have as much fun as Ted Nugent unless you're clean and sober and you genuflect at the altar of God's miraculous creation and being a conscientious conservation, resource stewardship, hunting, fishing, trapping, ranching, farming, environmentalist like the Motor City Madman has been for 77 and a half years. Say hallelujah like you mean it.
It's amazing, Ted. 77 and a half years old. You look like, I mean, you look amazing. It's great. And I guess that has a lot to do with it. We've learned that during your amazing career, you've refused drugs from not only big celebrities, but your personal heroes, including Jimi Hendrix. Now, I did not know that, you were close with Jimmy. I'll never forget him playing the Star Spangled Banner with his guitar, some of it with his teeth, if I'm not mistaken. You summed it up by saying Jimmy got high and Jimmy's dead. I went hunting and I'm still Ted. Your thoughts?
And that's no disrespect, because he was a gentleman. He was a fine man. I spent the weekend with Keith Richards in New York City in 1978. Wow. He was my
Time out. Ted Nugent, Keith Richards, dry, clean, and sober. And Keith, I've been to concerts where Keith couldn't even remember the words of the songs that he wrote. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I digress.
Well, it's important that my dad disciplined me to be the best that I could be. And of course, I wanted to rebel against that. I should have been the poster child for heroin addiction. But the discipline that he forced upon my siblings and myself manifested itself in wildlife. Do not underestimate that when you can get close to a covey of quail in Detroit in 1952 as a young boy, a very young boy with a bow and arrow and a slingshot, and you don't necessarily want to kill the quail, though eventually I did for dinner, but the fascination of getting that close and watching real nature function in an undisturbed way, it was so stimulating. It was so inspiring, even for a dumb kid, that I maintained that pursuit and accomplishment of a higher level of awareness as a reasoning predator. And now today, as I'm healthy at 77, if I had a little bit of sleep, I'd be downright handsome, but we'll have to deal with this for now. Underneath that silver beard is a very handsome young man. The point being is that I'm an outdoorsman. I'm a hunter. I'm a fisherman. I'm a trapper. I balance the wilds of God's creation, and the rewards are the greatest diet in the world, venison, wild game, and the confidence that for my 13 grandchildren, I'm making cleaner air, soil, and water by optimizing wildlife habitat. Are you kidding me? Who doesn't know this?
Well, we know you do it because we followed you and love you forever, Ted. But I got to think back, and I hope I don't ruffle any feathers around here. But if you haven't listened to Stranglehold with a beautiful woman on your arm and maybe a drink or two, you haven't lived, my friend. I'm so sorry, but I just grew up listening to Ted and just some of the most ominous ballady music. And for whatever reason, I just really enjoy you in certain states of mind, so to speak, if I don't mind. And I'm not afraid to tell people, yeah, of course I have cocktails once in a while. But Ted, you're amazing. The thought that you never were, because some of the songs, I would say that I thought you would be maybe, a little out there for when you're writing them. But wow, fantastic. Tell us more.
Well, what you're talking about the sexiest guitar lick in the history of the world. Ever. I played that. I created Stranglehold on the Fender bass guitar and get that rolling pedal tone, groove, and grind. And it is so damn sexy, and I'm not apologizing. That's what you're talking about, Eric Bolling. It's so stimulating. But remember, I just referenced nature and getting close to wildlife to understand my responsibility, my instinctual moral responsibility to be a resource steward based on on God's science, not some social hash basher in Ann Arbor. The point being is that I use the word stimuli. You're talking stimuli. When I pick up my guitar like I did this morning, when I pick up my bow and arrow like I did this morning on Fred Bear's birthday, there's a stimuli. The origins of Zen, the origins of the martial arts started with the mystical flight of the arrow, and when the bow went twang, that was the first guitar lick, Eric. Tell me you know that the first bowstring to get dinner and protect your tribe was the first guitar lick, and then when they stretched the skin over the drum to make clothing and shelter, and they hit that stretched skin, that was the first drum beat. Somebody write that down.
Yeah.
So when I make my music, as I did last week, the greatest 2 hours of my musical life in 2026, God loves me. The point is that you are a musical animal. You are a sensual animal, and my music comes from that. Not just sexy, but sensual, spiritual. And when you combine sexy with stimuli, sensual and spiritual, you get Stranglehold, and there's only one Stranglehold. And when I play it on stage every night, nobody's feet touch the ground. Eric, it is out of body magic every time.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It does. It just, I can listen to it every single time.
Yes, I play it every day.
You know, it must be like in some runners get these endorphin highs. You must get this endorphin high just from just going at it on your guitar. Ted, we got to do this because we found this video. I think we've showed you this before. A lot of folks haven't seen it yet. This is early Ted. Check this out. And this is Ted. I was shocked. This is Ted without alcohol or drugs at all. And there he comes. He's swinging on the vine, folks. That's Ted Nugent right there in the loincloth. And watch this. Watch him picking up the stage rocks here, picking it up and winging it out into the crowd. It's amazing. We love you, Ted. You are high on life, my friend. You don't need alcohol or drugs. You are high on life. And that video proves it from day one.
Well, the reason that John at Hook and Barrel Magazine wanted me to write that article was in a segment of the magazine, Hook and Barrel Magazine, a great magazine, really a sensual, it's a effervescent masculinity magazine for everybody. But he wanted me to write the story about how I've been clean and sober, that it was inspired by a higher level of awareness. And what you just watched in that video from the Marches of Rock in San Francisco, 79, I guess it was, if you try to do that drunk or stoned, you will hurt yourself. Here's the bottom line of my article and what I celebrate on Ted Nugent's Spirit of the Wild TV on the Pursuit channel 8 times a week, every week for 36 years. On our Real America's Voice, Shemaine, my wife Shemaine, if that's not the reward for paying attention, I don't know what would be. Faith and freedom. What you're talking about is you can't have as much, write this down, everybody. You can't possibly have as much fun as I have unless you're clean and sober. And I get a lot of testimony, Eric, from people who became clean and sober or young people who chose to be clean and sober because they see my energy level, they see my fun factor, they see my irreverence and my demand for accountability from my government. They see this ultra liveness and they go, I can do that. I should try that. And the rewards I get from young people that say they were clean and sober all their life is because of an interview they saw me do in 1969 or 1979 or 1989 it is so rewarding. That's why I have such a flame-throwing middle finger of truth, logic, and common sense on Real America's Voice. And you deserve me, by the way, Eric.
I do deserve you, and I will take more of you, Ted Nugent, folks. I've just loved this man's forever. I had no idea that clean and sober your whole entire life. You are a testament to the clean and sober living. Congratulations on the award, Ted, and congratulations on looking like you're like 45 when you're 77 and a half. That is just absolutely amazing. Congrats, Ted. Always good to have you, my friend. By the way, folks, don't forget, you can tune in to Ted Nugent, the Spirit Campfire, right here on Real America's Voice, Saturdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, and Sundays at 1 a.m., 10 p.m. Eastern as well on Sunday. Thank you, Mr. Ted Nugent. Keep crushing it, friend.
I promise. Go to tednugent.com and see the rock and roll mayhem that we're going to create in 2026. The best year of my life and the worst for my enemies. That's the ultimate balance, I think.
And I'll tell you what else you do. You put Stranglehold on your phone. Make it your ringtone. You will not be disappointed. I'm not kidding. Ted Nugent.
It'll make your cut go faster.
Make everything go faster. We'll be back 2.5 minutes, folks. Thank you, Ted.
At Real America's Voice, we love Pastor Jensen Franklin, a faithful servant of the Lord who brings our audience life-changing sermons every Sunday.
God is after a conversation with you.
And now, Jensen has a new book that will impact you too. What if your most effective prayers were not your longest ones? So many believers feel pressure to say more, thinking longer or more eloquent prayers will move the hand of God. But Scripture says otherwise. Throughout the Bible, brief, heartfelt prayers brought breakthrough and divine intervention.
And if I can inspire you to pray, I can inspire you to be like Jesus.
You will discover how even a simple cry, like, "Lord, save me," can open heaven's windows.
I really believe it's going to change your life.
Filled with biblical examples and practical encouragement, this book will help you pray with confidence in every circumstance.
You are missing so much more God has for your life.
Get ready to experience the miracles that come when you pray short, bold prayers filled with power. Scan the QR code now and order your copy today on Amazon.
When it's breaking,
We're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
This is Tim King, also known as USS Malik, and I love Real America's Voices for its like-minded programming and the chat. Love you guys.
So do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns filed every year but still keep owing money, retired and got hit with a surprise tax bill? Or maybe you're a business owner with a tax bill you can't afford. Yep. Did you take early money from your 401k and now you owe it back? However your tax issue started, the result is the same. Your balance is not going down. Penalties grow. Interest compounds. Many of you are about to owe again this year with no plan in place to pay it. Stop what you're doing right now and call Tax Network USA. The IRS can garnish wages, levy bank accounts, even take your home or your retirement account. Yep, I said that right. They can take your home, sell it for their money, and take the money, or your retirement account. With over 15 years in business, they've seen and resolved it all, helping taxpayers nationwide settle over $1 billion in tax debt. Call 800-905-8000. That number is 800-905-8000, or visit tnusa.com/RAV. All right, some breaking news, folks. Breaking news. This is in. Shocking new evidence suggests that Islamophobia is caused by Muslim jihadists murdering people. Shouldn't be that much of a breaking news, right? Sometimes it's just as simple as this. It's the jihad. Globalize the intifada. Is right here on our soil. But don't you dare talk about it, because anyone keeping score, there have been four attacks, 4 ISIS-inspired attacks or attempted attacks in America in under 2 weeks. And Democrats' biggest concern is Islamophobia or someone using the wrong pronoun. While Americans are watching videos of attackers shouting Allahu Akbar, Democrats yell about how we're not even allowed to talk about it, because apparently pointing it out as a pattern is considered more offensive than the actual pattern itself. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security is caught in a funding standoff at the exact moment the country needs it most. In their hissy fit over protesting against enforcing federal immigration law, on Thursday, 46 of 47 Senate Democrats voted to keep DHS closed. 46 of 47. So a very simple question. Seriously, how many warning signs do you need, Democrats, before we're allowed to have an honest conversation about what's happening? The buildup to this started years ago. nearly 25 years ago, a terrorist attack by a jihadist on our soil killed nearly 3,000 people in New York. And I was there. I watched it. America was united against jihadists then, against terrorists then. There was no dispute. But between then and now, Democrats have somehow turned the tables. Listen to the difference between 2015 Joe Biden and 2020 Joe Biden.
These perverse ideologues, warped theocrats, they may be able to inspire a single lone wolf to commit a savage act, but they can never threaten who we are. When this perverted jihadist struck, everyone responded. I wish we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith. Hadith from the Prophet Muhammad instructs, whomever among you sees a wrong, let him change it with his hand. If he is not able, then with his tongue. If he is not able, then with his heart.
From scolding perverse jihadists to quoting Muhammad in 5 years. Hey, what about Barack Hussein Obama back in 2016? This is real, folks. This right here is how far we have fallen.
Muslim communities across our country, this is a time of concern and, frankly, a time of some fear. Like all Americans, you're worried about the threat of terrorism. But on top of that, as Muslim Americans, you also have another concern, and that is your entire community so often is targeted or blamed for the violent acts of the very few.
But it's not just the acts of a, quote, very few, Barack Hussein Obama. And there you have it. Terrorism, whatever, Islamophobia. Now that's the real concern, says Obama. But that's by design, and that is where this mentality comes from. Yet somehow on MS Now, they want you to believe that this is all Trump's fault.
Between Muslims in the West, Muslims and the people of the Jewish faith, in large part because of what's happening in Iran. And you have to wonder about the connectedness. You have to wonder about the ways in which this environment further radicalizes people. And you have to wonder fundamentally about the degree to which this White House, which has been caught completely flat-footed on a war of choice, really has the personnel in place and actually the interest in keeping Americans safe.
Excuse me? Who let these people in? Who let them stay? Oh, that would have been Obama and Biden. Oh, because the Old Dominion University shooter, Mohammed Jalal, was convicted in 2016 of having ties to ISIS, a naturalized citizen from Sierra Leone, one of the most ridiculously bad countries in the world. He was released from federal prison in 2024. Well, who did that? Oh, Joe Biden did that. Folks, Democrats' suicidal empathy is going to kill us all. This week alone, the U.S. saw multiple ISIS-inspired attacks or attempted attacks. Different cities, different suspects, but the same disturbing thread running through them all: radical Islamic ideology. Now, the minute you say that out loud, you know what happens next, right? Someone on the left jumps up like they've touched a live wire and screams, Islamophobia! And they put a little spin on terrorism.
We're seeing the real-life consequences to the elevation and platforming and legitimizing of anti-Semitic voices. To be crystal clear, we do not know the motivations of the attacker, this would-be mass murderer of Jews. We don't know their political views.
Yeah, we kind of do know their motivations, Jake. So stop running cover for these terrorists. Sorry, but that's done. No more of that. That pattern is too strong now. You see, to them, the real danger is not the terrorists. And yes, that's what they are. They're terrorists. Homegrown terrorists even sometimes. But recognizing a pattern is not prejudice. It's called basic situational awareness. If someone robs 4 banks wearing the same red jacket, you're not allowed to mention the red jacket. You're anti-jacket. You're bigoted. You're anti-bombs killing people. You're just noticing the obvious. And right now, the obvious is uncomfortable for the left and the media that they own. It's easier to accuse people of bigotry than it is to address policy failures. Now, look where we are. In these cases, these were naturalized citizens, people who supposedly entered the country and went through the immigration process. Not sure if they did. Maybe they were short cut the line, who knows, under Obama or Biden, who knows, but radicalization doesn't check immigration paperwork. Ideology doesn't care whether someone crossed the border yesterday or 10 years ago. The question now goes well beyond how someone got into the country. The left refuses to identify an extremist ideology. They just throw Islamophobia at it and hope it all goes away. Fighting terrorism requires two things: clear eyes and honest conversations. Not exactly a Democrat's specialty. The U.S. is experiencing a cluster of terrorist incidents that were ISIS-inspired, yet the left acts like acknowledging ideology, fanatical ideology at that, is somehow impolite. Just imagine if we applied that logic anywhere else. Imagine if during the Cold War we refused to talk about communism because it might offend communists. But somehow in 2026, we're expected to pretend radical ideology doesn't matter. And while all of this is happening, the Department of Homeland Security is stuck in a political funding fight in Washington. We're under serious threat. We're clearly under attack. That should concern everyone. This isn't a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. It's an American safety issue. Why is this so difficult for Democrats to understand that? Say it with us now. Islamist extremism is a real ideology that has inspired terrorist violence around the world. That is an undeniable fact. And if we're too afraid to say that sentence, then we'll never, ever be able to stop the people who believe it, who perpetrate it. Terrorists don't care about our political correctness. They don't care about what language makes politicians comfortable or on cable news. They care about one thing: whether America is strong enough to face reality. And if Democrats are still too afraid to even name the problem, then the real question isn't how many attacks we've had this week. The real question is how many wake-up calls will it take before the left finally wakes up? Take a look at this. Something interesting is happening right now, and it says a lot about where people's heads are. My new show, The Edge, non-political zone where we talk about performance, money, health, pressure, and winning, is quietly building a serious audience. In just a few months, the channel is approaching 2 million views, over 12,000 subscribers, and more than 65,000 hours of watch time. Think about that last number for a second. It means people aren't just clicking, they're sitting down and actually watching the conversations, because The Edge isn't about politics. It's about discipline, longevity, investing, building things, and operating at a higher level. The guests reflect that. People who've operated in real arenas. And the conversations are about what it actually takes to perform when the pressure is real. If you haven't seen it yet, just search The Edge and Eric Bolling on YouTube. Watch one episode. If it speaks to you, welcome to The Edge. Point your phones or camera at that QR code and subscribe, or search Eric Bolling, add The Edge. Thank you, and please join this show that has become a movement. You won't be disappointed. I guarantee it.
I don't scare easy. I don't bend fast.
America, it's time to make some noise. Scan the QR code right now and download the new song, God, Grit, and Guns by the Truth Bombers. Or search for it on iTunes and download it today. In a world filled with chaos and uncertainty, this song is a reminder of something stronger, America's grit, faith, and fortitude. From the label that brought you The Boss, Anthem of the Free, and Somali Waltz, comes the next anthem, God, Grit, and Guns by the Truth Bombers. Scan the QR code and download it now.
It's God, grit, and guns. God, grit, and guns. God, grit, and guns.
To our enemies, FAFO.
At Real America's Voice, we love Pastor Jensen Franklin, a faithful servant of the Lord who brings our audience life-changing sermons every Sunday.
God is after a conversation with you.
And now, Jensen has a new book that will impact you too. What if your most effective prayers were not your longest ones? So many believers feel pressure to say more, thinking longer or more eloquent prayers will move the hand of God. But Scripture says otherwise. Throughout the Bible, brief, heartfelt prayers brought breakthrough and divine intervention.
And if I can inspire you to pray, I can inspire you to be like Jesus.
You will discover how even a simple cry, like, "Lord, save me," can open heaven's windows.
I really believe it's going to change your life.
Filled with biblical examples and practical encouragement, this book will help you pray with confidence in every circumstance.
You are missing so much more God has for your life.
Get ready to experience the miracles that come when you pray short, bold prayers filled with power. Scan the QR code now and order your copy today on Amazon.
When it's breaking,
We're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
My name is Stevie, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
This is Tim King, also known as USS Malik, and I love Real America's Voices for its like-minded programming and the chat. Love you guys.
I don't scare easy.
All right, we love the voicemails. There he is, Ben, Rashad, and who's in the corner? Is that Alex? No, that's Drew. That's Drew. What's up, Drew? Thank you for your service, Drew. Let's see. We got some voicemails. Let's hear one.
Yes, sir. Hang on. We have a viewer wants Pam Bondi to take some action.
Mr. Bowling, love the show. I want to echo what one of your callers just said. Pam Bondi. I don't know if she just sits at her desk and does her makeup all day, but how could Ilhan Omar have $33 million in about a year or so in the bank when she was worth nowhere near that much until $29 billion started to be frauded in her district? Now, it doesn't take a FBI or a head of a DOJ to probably break that down and find the fraud. She doesn't want to lock anybody up, I believe, because she knows that Trump cannot run again in 3 years. She wants to be at peace with the other side of the aisle. She don't want to be on their bad side should a Democrat become president again. She's playing safe ball right now, and she has arrested no one. She is actually very ineffective. Let's get her out of there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. You made a very good point. I don't think many people have put that together. You're right. Ilhan Omar came to Congress. You have to state your net worth when you come to Congress. They have levels, right? So from 0 to whatever, 250,000, and it keeps going. She had a negative net worth when she entered Congress, and her husband somehow locks down $30 or $33 million in a few short years. At the same time, is the latest number I've heard, $19 billion in fraud is happening in her district and others in Minneapolis. They got to investigate that. You're so right. We've been talking about perp walks straight through. Ben, I think there was a counter argument to, like, don't blame Pam on one of those. Do you have that by chance? It's one of the short ones if you have. If you don't, just play it. We'll see what it is.
One moment. Let me just double check here. I think it's this one. I'll rip it.
We'll try.
So, hi Eric, this is Gary in Bandera, Texas, and I have a theory. I think that if the SAVE Act passes, Biden keeps his job, President Trump will replace Pam Bondi with Ken Paxton. What do you think about that? Bye.
That wasn't it, but that's a good comment there. Yeah, if the Save America Act passes, I like this idea. I mean, people who don't like Pam, you know, Trump was hearing, he hears that, and if he does replace Pam Bondi, I don't know if he will. Right now, she's living on a military base, fearing for her life, and maybe not just from the other side. Well, if he does replace her, Ken Paxton. Boy, I hope that doesn't mean he pushes for Cornyn. I really hope it doesn't mean he pushes for John Cornyn. That would be a disaster, John Cornyn. We have enough rhinos. But then again, how do you get the SAVE Act passed? I no idea. Look, either one of those guys, Ken Paxton is a great guy. He's a great U.S. Senator. I would love to see Ken Paxton as U.S. Senate, even more probably than Attorney General of the United States. I don't know. I'm not sure where I'd rather have him. He's going to be great wherever. But that is a good point. If he's not U.S. Senator in Texas, maybe he is going to be the next Department of Justice Attorney General, heading up the DOJ, which heads up the IRS, that heads up the FBI, ATF, all the agencies. That is a very interesting concept. All right, I know some had a great week. We'll see you Monday. Have a great week. Have a safe weekend, folks. Keep your eyes on RAV all weekend long. You get the update news on what's going on in the Middle East and what's going on in Trump world. Bannon coming up next. Tell Steve I said hi. Have a great week.
Yesterday's attack was anti-Semitism. It was hate, plain and simple. We will fight this ancient and rampant evil. We will stand together as we do it, and we will call it out. We must lower the rhetoric in this state and in this country, especially at this moment where we've seen such a rise in anti-Semitism and more attacks on the Jewish community. We must keep each other close. This community is on the edge, very understandably. We've seen a rise in attacks, especially over the last decade, especially over the last 10 months. And so it is important for us to stand up, to stand against it, and to thank the people who showed up to support the community, but also call out where we see acts of anti-Semitism, where we see threats, where we see something, how important it is to say something, and to recognize that each of us has a responsibility. People like the person that attacked this community yesterday get fomented by rhetoric that they see online and that they see on television and they hear on the radio. It radicalizes people and it endangers our fellow Michiganders. We cannot let this continue. And so each of us has a duty to take action where and how we can.
I just want to reiterate, I think it's clear that if it were not for the private security and the staff at Temple Israel, and then the first responders, first on the scene, local law enforcement, if they had not all done their jobs almost perfectly, we would be talking about an immense tragedy here today with children gone. This could have been much, much worse. So I give incredible credit to law enforcement and the people who were in the room, putting themselves and their own families at risk. I think, the governor said it very, very well on the way this community has responded. It's been incredible to watch neighbors in the community here, both organizations and just regular old citizens open up their homes literally yesterday to help care for people who were fleeing from this. And this is a place that I have a very personal connection to. I feel I've spent a lot of my time growing up in and out of this temple, and I feel just an immense amount of pain, as does the rest of the community, that incidents like this even happen. And I think it's just important to be clear, as the governor said, that whether anti-Semitism is coming from the left or the right, whether it's coming from some group that you like or don't like, you have a responsibility to call it out.
So do you think that Paxton or Cornyn
related it all to Davy Crockett, do you think?
I don't think so. I'm going to have to do a DNA. I don't know if she was due 23andMe, but we could look into it. Paxton,
check it out.
I will. I think
Davy would be honored.
I have a lot of free time.
Great frontiers.
So you're going to stay out of the primary then? The Paxton Cornyn?
No, I'm not going to say it. No, I want to do something. But the main thing I have to do is find out who's going to get the Save America Act approved.
Well, I guess Senator John Thune's kind of at a logjam.
No, I know. Very look. I think he's a wonderful person. I do, but he seems to be not that he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't think he can do it, and that's bad. I mean, how can you not get voter ID approved? How can you not get citizenship approved? Proof of citizenship.
Listen,
that's all we're asking for.
I hear you.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
It's Friday, 13 March in the year of our Lord 2026, so we have lots of updates and things we want to get to in detail. About the war and the reaction to the war, we saw a couple of incidents yesterday, and the implication from the FBI, et cetera, everybody ought to be on alert because there could be more. Down at Old Dominion University, I think the RT students took it into their own hands when they were attacked by an ISIS guy. A guy had been sent to prison, federal prison for 10 years, served 7. I said yesterday when they reported 3, they couldn't have been correct. Even Biden wouldn't let somebody out just after a couple of years on the charges that he had. But the RTC unit, where he did kill the major that was in charge of it, they attacked him with, they're essentially bare hands and killed him, knifed him. Close order combat. In Michigan, and maybe they have information that we haven't seen and put forth, but my understanding is that the individual, and by the way, the first guy is a naturalized citizen, the second guy is a naturalized citizen. It's a ticking time bomb, a major problem. That's what's got to be addressed. The anti-Semitism, I believe, at least the information has come out from Ryan Grimm and some other people that have not been refuted. This guy's from Lebanon, and I believe that part of his family or his children or some part of his family were hit with bombing from Israel in this war. If that's the case, I'm not so sure that falls under anti-Semitism. I think that falls under the guy reacted to a war that we have going on, and now people should understand with a major escalation today, the announcement from the Pentagon, or at least leaked to the Wall Street Journal, that we're sending 5,000 combat troops from Japan, a Marine ready group, and normally it's 2,500. I think they've announced it's 5,000. This war, it's only going to get more complicated. And they were specifically targeted for the Straits of Hormuz, which, as you know, has been a matter of controversy about the military's focus on that and what's to be done with the United States Navy and others. But I want to get to this issue because we had the mass deportation announcement this week, but that was all predicated upon math. One of the things that we're trying to do is look at those groups that are deeply involved in certain issue sets, certain verticals that have been part of the coalition. The part of the coalition that brought President Trump back from the political dead after the 2020 election was stolen from him, and he was exiled to Mar-a-Lago. And now you see a guy like Cornyn who's having to live with his hating on President Trump in those days. That's had a big impact. We had right there Brian Kilmeade interviewing the president, where President Trump says, hey, I'm still interested in doing it, but I want to see the outcome of the Save America Act, which President Trump is, once again, about immigration, about no foreigners can vote, only American citizens in U.S. elections. And that's going to start next week, and it's going to be hugely controversial. And President Trump saying, hey, I don't want to hear happy talk, and I don't want to see optics, and I don't want to see kabuki theater. I want it passed on my desk. And if you have to change the customs and traditions of the Senate for a one-time deal, I remember many people backed the 60 vote filibuster as to break cloture. And to be brutally frank, and Rosemary Jinks is going to join me in a second, we would have had we would have had amnesty and I think DACA and everything else if it hadn't been for people. Got to remember that 60 vote saved us a couple of 3 times. But the Democrats have signaled that they're not going to, Manchin and Sinema prohibited them last time. They're gone. So as soon as they get back in, they're getting rid of it. This adds to the complexity. But the center beating heart of the problem is that we've allowed, first off, 15, 20, 25 million illegal alien invaders on Biden's watch, which is very systematically thought through. Plus, we have a regular immigration system, and you see both of these individuals, who one we know is actively ISIS because he went to federal prison about it, and I don't know why the FBI wasn't on top of this guy more, but hey, that's for the FBI to answer. The other, and maybe it's response to the Israeli attack, but clearly he had, inclinations, and another guy that's one of these guys in the immigration system that gets naturalized or is here on some sort of program that's got to be stopped. Elizabeth Mitchell is with us, and Rosemary Jenks. Rosemary, I want to start with you because Elizabeth's reporting on the firestorm up on Capitol Hill about this topic and this issue. I want to talk to you about, you actually went out and said, hey, what we're going to do is very much what Jeffrey Tucker did about Bobby Kennedy and Make America Healthy Again. He goes, I'm not really believing these polls that I'm seeing, and I'm certainly not believing some of the things I'm hearing out of the White House or the West Wing that they're showing President Trump in some of this polling. I'm going to go do my own poll. Talk to us about it. You because you are looked at as one of the leaders of this movement. You're now part of also the Mass Deportation Coalition, but you actually went back, and I think the genius of it is you went back and got the president's, his 2 lead pollsters are Tony Fabrizio and John McLaughlin. You went and got McLaughlin's organization to actually, and John's got his brother also,